All right. Welcome back, everyone. Yes. Okay. Mm, I think there was a question just now on the 7.5. I think most of you got this correct. 7.5. Oops. The only thing is some of you forgot to remove the mid-range handphones here. Uh, and some of you forgot to, when you're selling water bottles, there's free phone covers. You can remove that. Some forgot to calculate the discounted price correctly. The rest for 7.5 is actually quite straightforward. Okay, then for the logistic checklist, some of you forgot to put down the person in charge. Most of you put down the quantity of the item times one, like assessment plan times one. Uh, yeah, uh, this is could be yourself. And then this part refers to your role play resources. So you need to have whatever thing, item times quantity. What's the quantity? Mm. And then potentially this is the retail manager. Okay, you can block all these things. Merge, price tags, times how many quantity. Okay, if you're just doing that, just list down the things you need. Yeah. And then I'm okay for you to do this, but at least by now, uh, you should already know that you should include as a trainer. There's nothing else you have to worry about. You're not operating in a restaurant. You need to worry about no tripping hazards. Okay, yeah. Uh, Even for just classroom learning, I'm not really fussy, but I think this is potentially a very basic legal requirement for trainers. But if you are working in a restaurant, then you have to worry about no uh, web floor signage, etc. But not so important this one. Yeah. Okay. So a quick check on the logistic checklist that I've covered for most of you. I think the two person I've not seen is who I've not seen. Key, uh, Key, Lisa, Nadia, Jocelyn. I'll just revert during lunch. Yeah. Okay. Good. So while we're waiting for the rest to come in, now, this morning we covered the quick practice of briefing candidate adjusting to special need, and this whole process is about talking about fairness, principles of adjustment, principles of assessments on fairness. Okay, so once the candidate understood your briefing, you this is where you say, okay, do you have any clarification? If no clarification, shall we begin with the assessment? That means the candidate is willing to proceed with the assessment itself. So while the code of practice of briefing candidates and adjusting to candidates number one, and for some of you who chose that the candidate is going to present you the F1 ticket or Taylor Swift ticket, that will be number two. For those people who want to sign off and go, potentially you are trying to tell them they can't, they must continue. So this will be the two that you will need to uh, work with. Yep. So these are some of the assessment requirements, code of practice that we have kind of discussed just now during the briefing candidate process itself. Okay, so with the different scenarios. Okay, so with this, we are going to go towards after the briefing. This is where Nadia's question came in. After Nadia, you're here, yeah, Nadia? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
So, after the briefing, candidate has no question on the assessment scope, purpose, and special needs, and willing to begin. This is where you're going to give them instructions before the start of role play. Before they start role play, you have to tell the candidate, okay, we're going to begin with role play. And during the role play, I will be the assessor, will also be the, during the role play, assessor will also be the
Customer.
excellent. And then, whereas the candidate myself, I will be the retail assistant. Okay, this is the roles involved. For all role play instructions, whether training or assessment, you must tell them the roles. What you don't tell them is what they need to, the detailed criteria. But you must tell them the roles. You must show them the role play scenario. After you brief them the roles, say, here is the role play scenario. Please take a read. Let me know if you have any clarification. This is 7.4 of your AP. After they have read the role play scenario, this is where you're going to show the candidate the setup. Please take a look at the assessment the setup itself. So you're going to move the candidate to the side to let her take a look, not sitting down here and just look from by sitting, looking at the slide by sitting from here. Invite them to take a look and then just to make sure that all the required role play resources are available. If you have any question, you let me know. Good enough. I don't need you to go and say, this is the table, this is the chair, this is the price tag. No, you don't have to do that. Okay, just bring them to the place, ask them to familiarize on the setup before they start. Okay, so actually there's only 3 things you need to brief the candidate, which is 1, 2, and 3. This is in the assessment criteria. Is that okay? And then once they're ready, let me know once you're ready. And then once I will tell you that, oh, I'm ready. Then you say, shall we begin? Okay. Okay, then let me know, shall we begin? Okay. And before the oral question, you must also tell me 3 things. Okay. There's a total of 6 questions. Do you have any if the question is unclear, let me know, and then shall we begin? Okay. Yep. So very simple. So very often, there's so many pieces of paper we cannot find. We actually put a post-it note of these instructions for the role play and for the oral question. All these instructions. Once we put it in a post-it note, as operating assessor, we will, give me a moment, let me open up the assessment plan and show you where I stick the post-it note on to help me remember. Of course, all of you will have different recap strategies. I will leave it to you. I will put my post-it note just here. Okay, so that when I conduct the role play, I will always remember my role play instructions. Yeah. And before the oral question, some of my learner will pen it down. Okay, they will pen it down here. There's a total of X number of 6 questions. The duration is 15 minutes. If my question is unclear, let me know. Shall we begin? And wait for the learner to say, yes, we shall begin, then we will begin. So instruction before role play and oral questioning is done after the briefing, just in time before each method. Yeah, of course, instruction must be given just in time before each method. Yeah, clarification so far? Sounds good? I'm just sharing with you how I handle. But you will have your own recurrent.
A question.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, after the briefing, and we are going to, before you go to start the role play, should we ask the learner again, does he need any toilet break or what? Or we can just...
No, I think you can just leave it because if the learner need a toilet break, you already let them know already. Yeah. Unless you realize this guy is uncomfortable, is too scared, you know, you might want to bring him out to take a warm cup of water, um, and before he starts, and make the person a bit comfortable. One of the New York study, which is so much based on our Asian strategy, is if the learner is really, really scared, you don't know the candidate at all, you might want to walk with the learner to collect a warm cup of water and then pass it to the learner. Uh, the research finding is in an interview, when the interviewer gives the candidate a warm cup of water versus a cold cup of water, somehow uh, the candidate with a warm cup of water gets selected in the interview. I do not know the validity of the research study, but when I think about it to Asian culture, in Japan, India, Saudi Arabia, China, even Singapore, uh, when visitors visit my home, we always offer a warm cup of tea. Yeah, it's the young punk nowadays that my kids' generation, they're all cold drinks, but my generation, anyone that comes to my home is always a warm cup of coffee or tea or water. Uh, there's nothing else. So when I saw this research study, I think, hi, what's so new about such research? Trust the Angmo to test it in a specific profile. Yeah, maybe we should do a few more research in Asia and claim it under the Asian names as well. Yeah, Southeast Asian. Okay, good. Does that answer your question, Keith? Yeah. Okay. So instruction before role play is done after briefing. Instruction briefing before role play. Instruction for oral question is done before the oral question. Okay. Can I kind of put all the answers there for you, but learning is still yours. Yeah. So once you have done that, you're now going to use this document. Okay. The assessment plan itself. Okay, this is the assessment plan document. You have your own copy. We've opened up this morning. In terms of the content page, we are now going to go into the, just in case your briefing candidate purpose of assessment, context of assessment is here. Assessment duration is here. Okay, appeal process is 7.2. Yeah. Now, what should the assessor do for the role play setup, etc., brief the learner is all under section 3 plus section 7, instructions for pre-assessment, for role play, for oral questions. How to conduct assessment is under 3 and 7. Now, we are now going to refer to section 4. Before lunch, we are going to cover the role play segment, and then if we have time, we do the oral question. If not, we do it after. Okay. After lunch. So for role play this is section 4. Okay. So let me share with you, for me as an assessor, when I take up an assessment plan, I don't just open it on the day when I go down to the assessment. When I pick up the assessment plan, I actually will read my entire assessment plan. I will try it out how to operate the role play myself, the oral question, assuming it's a competent candidate, and execute everything. Then after I learn how to execute everything, guess what I will do? After I know how to execute based on the instruction, I will look at it and I say, if the candidate did not approach, how do I recover? If the candidate did not greet, how do I recover? If the candidate greet, but they didn't do the standard greeting, how do I recover? So if you are given a paid assessment, so this is what for me, this is what I do, so that when my candidate comes and if they didn't show any evidence, I know how to recover every part of it. Yep. So if they speak clearly but not confidently, there's different way of recovery. Yeah. And how will you recover? So I don't just assume and mark on that day. I actually do a contingency plan before for every criteria that met or not met. That's what I do for before I start the assessment. Okay. Anyway, so when you start your role play, your candidate name must be completed, your NRIC must be completed, your date must be completed, your start time. Key, you mentioned this. This is where you start the briefing. The end time is end of role play plus completion of role play record. Yeah. So you will document your time for your coaching to see whether the 15 minutes is enough or not enough. Yep. That's more for recording purposes. Questions so far on start time, end time? Sounds good? Okay. So my official IC is Kelly Ng. Okay. And my IC number is S1234567. No. Ah, okay. Yeah. That's my official IC. It will apply to your class as well. I'm going to take a picture of this. Okay. Any questions so far for this? Yeah. So actually, section 456, Kelly 1234567R, and the date will apply. Only the time will be different for all of you. Yeah. Okay, that seems so simple. Okay, good. Now, if you have this with you, okay, we are going to go criteria by criteria. A1, we are going to check whether the candidate use open-ended question, closed-ended question to find out what the customer is looking for. We're going to check that they look attentively. Smile is one point, whether he nods to convey interest. This is actually eye contact. Open body posture, hand gesture to encourage. Okay, so this is what we are going to look at for our first role play. Is that okay? Just this part. Shall we take a photograph, or easier or we take a photograph to try this? Okay, so for some of you who couldn't open two screens, this might be easier. Okay, so are we ready to watch video? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, that's done. Let me click the correct page first. Here we are. This will be video 2, segment 2. Okay, so we are on.
Firm. So you'll be coming in from there. I'll be positioned here. This is the way how we set up. Okay, can.
Can
Got it.
Alright.
So before we do this, Sumadi is the assessor, Arthur is the retail assistant. Okay, the Chinese guy who took out his specs is the retail assistant. Yeah, Sumadi, my colleague, is the assessor. Okay.
Afternoon, man.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Looking for any jackets?
Yes. Yes, I'm looking for some jackets.
Okay. This is our line of winter wear jackets.
Okay.
May I inquire which country you're going to?
I'm going to Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Okay. Within which time frame, which period, which season?
Soon it's going to be spring.
Okay, spring.
Yep.
Okay. Springtime in Korea is about 15 to 18 degrees. So you don't really need those thick, furry kind of jackets. So
Okay.
these jackets would do. May I also inquire any special requirements for the jacket that you are looking for?
It must be easy to wash.
Easy to wash, okay. Roughly, how much do you intend to spend? How much do you foresee yourself spending?
About 120.
About 120. Okay, so what we have here is based on what you shared with me, just to clarify, right? Your budget is about 120 and you want something which is easy to clean. So that brings us to only about these two jackets actually.
Okay.
Right, this one, the price suits you is at $120. This one, while it looks a bit thin, but actually can double up as a business jacket. So
Oh,
just to
yeah.
share with you, are you going for purely for vacation on holiday or business trip? It's okay. It's okay, man.
Okay.
Yeah, let me handle that.
Holiday. I'm just going for holiday.
Okay, on holiday.
Yep.
So what you could do is between these two jackets, right? This one is at 120. This one is at 1.
Okay, good. I kind of play a little bit too much for this, but good. Okay, so now I would like to ask the class, do you think Arthur has, my colleague, or the retail assistant, has approached the customer? He did? Yeah.
He did. Yep.
He did, okay. Do you think he has greeted the customer?
Yes, he did.
He say, good morning, good afternoon, right? Yeah. Did he say, welcome to this month?
No.
No.
Didn't. Okay, so now you have observed this, so you put down approach. I'm going to then do this. He had approached, he had greeted, but he didn't do this. Okay, and then later, so if I'm a recorder, observing and recording, okay, I'll put down did not use standard greeting. Greeted only good morning, ma'am. Okay, that will be what I put here. Can you see my remarks here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay, good. Do you think he communicate in a professional, polite, and friendly manner? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes? Yes? A few of you? A few nods. Very good. I love the nod. That allows me to polite and friendly. Okay, all these three met, right? Okay. So what would I do with here? This will be shown. This will be not shown. Okay, so do you think he speaks clearly and confidently?
Yes.
Yeah, he did that. Okay, so this is done. Good, thank you. Let me see. Go down. Do you think he use open questions and closed questions to find out what customer is looking for? Give me an example of open questions.
Did you ask her where is she going, like, Korea?
Where
Is she
you
going traveling? Yeah.
be traveling to? Okay, that is a closed question. Fixed country. There's a closed question. What else? What other question?
The weather there.
Okay, for leisure or business. Okay, what else?
The season.
What season? Okay, guys, are these open question or closed question?
Close.
Okay. This one is third one is a close. Where will you be traveling? Is a fixed answer. It could be a fixed answer or not fixed answer. Okay, so what the first one could be closed or open, but the second and third one is a closed question. Yeah. He also asked other things, right?
I think he
What-
asked, do you have any special requirement? So that's an open.
Excellent. Okay. Do you have any special? What are some of the special requirements that will be open? Yeah. So he did have both open and closed question. Yeah. So he has this and he has this. Then over here you jot down the open question and you jot down the closed question. One or two, no need all. Yeah, because they didn't specify how many. One of the weakness of the assessment plan is, in fact, this is a super important criteria to find out customer requirements. But the assessment plan didn't state that how many open question or closed question they should ask. Yeah. Okay, good. Next one. Do you think he looked at the customer attentively? He had small eyes.
So, but he was closing his eyes at most of the time. Then he was just looking at the object, talking
Yes.
about this stuff.
He was actually thinking about his script.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he didn't do it. Okay, did he smile and nod? Yes.
He not, but he never really smiled that much. I felt.
Really? My poor Arthur, his smile is like that only.
Okay, like he smiled, I give it to you lah.
Okay. So one of the thing is during your briefing you potentially know whether how much this candidate smile, etc. But he definitely did not. Okay.
He did not.
And so take for example, if this candidate the eyes is so small, you can't even see the eyes at all, then potentially unless upon recruitment you recruit people with eyes that is visible, then it's very difficult to mark whether this person has eye contact or not. Okay, but obviously after at the greeting part, yes, but as he goes on he realized that he was more internally going through his script and not going through it. Okay, so I think he did try to smile at the beginning, but that's my colleague lah. Okay, yeah. So I will put that. Do you think it's an open body posture? Not too bad, right? He didn't have a closed posture, right? How was his hand? Okay, right? Quite open? Yes? Okay. So he does that. Okay. But he didn't use hand gesture to encourage talking. Definitely he didn't show this at all. Okay. Okay, now for A1, for role play. Okay, so if there's no recovery for the assessment, okay, for round 1 itself, the result will be not yet competent for this and potentially for role play, at the end of role play, you cannot stop at this point. You just let him continue. But this is your marking as of now. We talk about recovery later. How to recover. So you cannot recover now. Or else you are thinking to the candidate or on established requirement. But as of now, there's actually one potential gap for here based on the video. Because there's no standard greeting, this was not shown. Yeah? Can? Question on marking on this? Sounds okay? Okay, good. So if there's no question, so do you all see where I tick? Did I tick here? Or I tick here? Which one? I have to do here.
Assessment criteria.
I cannot put here. Because this part is not for this. This part is for me to determine later on whether A1 later on, after I recover this, whether this is competent or not yet competent. But currently, I have not recovered not enough evidence, so this is how I'm doing observing and marking. Is that okay? Can? This for later. Whether ability statement is competent or not yet competent, where I will decide competent or not yet competent whether the evidence collected is enough or not enough based on all at least two. Okay, we'll talk about sufficiency later. Okay, good. Now we're going to go to assessment criteria 2. This one's very easy. Okay, in the ability statement for product advisory in retail industry skills standards, they need to show all of the following above. Recommend at least only one product, but must be based on customers' requirements. Explain the characteristics and feature of the product. And this one, they put down characteristics as. Okay, so that means 2 is enough. Okay, but you can actually question whether explaining 2 characteristics of that meets the customer requirement is good enough for the assessment criteria or not. But anyway, currently we just mark based on this. Okay. Based on customers' requirement. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the video.
Okay, if you're ready, I'll come in.
Hang on. Okay, so I'll be positioned here. This is the way how we set up. Okay, Ken. Looking for any jackets?
Yes. Yes, I'm looking for some jackets.
Okay. This is our line of winter wear jackets.
Okay.
May I inquire which country you're going to?
I'm going to Korea.
Korea.
Yeah.
Okay. Within
It's going to be spring.
okay, spring.
Yep.
Okay. Springtime in Korea is about 15 to 18 degrees. So you don't really need those thick, furry kind of jackets. So
Okay.
these jackets will do. May I also inquire any special requirements for the jacket that you are looking for?
It must be easy to wash.
Easy to wash, okay. Roughly, how much do you intend to spend? How much do you foresee yourself spending?
About 120.
About 120. Okay, so what we have here is based on what you shared with me, just to clarify, right? Your budget is about 120 and you want something which is easy to clean. So that brings us to only about these 2 jackets actually.
Okay.
Right, this one, the price suits you is at $120. This one, well, it looks a bit thin, but actually can double up as a business jacket. So
Oh,
just to
yeah.
share with you, are you going for purely for vacation on holiday or business trip? It's okay. It's okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, let me handle that.
Holiday. I'm just going for holiday.
Okay, on holiday.
Yep.
So what you could do is between these 2 jackets, right? This one is at 120. This one is at 130. It's slightly above your budget.
Yeah.
So this one is more. You can wear it for dual purposes. It's okay. The hanger is a bit loose. So for dual purpose, in the sense that you can use this for business as well
Okay,
as for casual.
sounds good. Sounds good.
They are easy to wash, easy to
Oh,
clean. You
alright.
just have to put it in the washing machine, take it out, and then just let it dry on its
Okay.
own.
Sounds good.
This one is more catered towards kind of like a leisure wear kind of thing.
Correct.
Although it's thin, it's Teflon coated. So what happens is it will retain the heat when you're wearing it.
I see.
So these are the 2 that
Okay, so now we will look at this criteria. Do you think the candidate recommend one product based on customers' requirement? Yes? Okay, definitely one. Can you specify what requirement did they need? Definitely
Easy to
budget,
wash.
easy to wash, and then easy to wash, right? And budget. Okay, potentially the springtime as well. Yeah. Okay, and springtime jacket. Did he and he also introduced the characteristics and features of the product that meet customers' needs. Yeah. Okay, easy to wash. For springtime usage. And budget. Those 3 areas. Okay, so with this, clearly for ability statement 2, candidate meet all the requirements based on the criteria, the overall result will be a competent. So over here, you can put down budget, easy to wash, springtime. I think that's good enough. Is that okay for your notes here? Okay, good. So now we're going to go to the next criteria. Okay, we're going to look at, is there 2 product feature? Is there related promotion currently happening? Is there final price given? Was there product warranty given to the candidate? During the recommendation process, did he communicate with customer professional, polite and friendly? Did he share the product information clearly? Did he use product brochure? Did he handle the product with care? This one you obviously know he did, right? Remember the jacket dropped down? Did he respect the product? Retail staff need to respect their own product. They didn't let the customer handle, he managed it itself. Anyway, for your case, you are not going to hang up anything. There's no hanger in IAL or there's no flip chart board. We are all going to place our product on the table. Can? So no need to worry about hanger or ring hanger to IAL. Yeah? Okay, all our products will be placed on the table. So we're going to observe this in the video. Okay, for age ability statement 3.
We have here, would you like to try them? Will retain the heat when you're wearing. It's Teflon coated, so what happens is it will retain the heat when you're wearing it.
I see.
So these are the 2 that we have here. Would you like to try them?
Yeah, I think I want to try this because
Sure.
I can use it again, right? You were saying, yeah, it does look. Yep, let me try this.
Sure, the changing room is just behind there, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
How is it, ma'am?
Okay, yeah, it's really nice.
Okay, so are you happy with this piece?
Yes, I am.
Okay, in this color?
Yeah, this color is fine.
Okay, I'll get a new piece for you. On the way to getting a new piece, can I also introduce to you, our store is having a discount right now.
Oh, okay.
So with the purchase of any jacket from our winter wear, what you could do is you are eligible to purchase these accessories at a
Okay.
20% discount.
All right.
Right? And they
Okay.
go for $10 each. Now, you mentioned you're going to Korea, it's about
Correct.
springtime, so you
Yep.
probably don't need the gloves, but
Okay.
the neck warmers would certainly do you well.
Okay.
Would you like to consider them, ma'am?
Let me see.
Mm.
How much you were saying?
It's $10 after the 20%
Oh,
discount.
that's beyond my budget.
Mm.
Yeah. Never mind. I'll just get that.
Sure, ma'am. So let me take this.
Yes. Okay. So, gentlemen and ladies in class, do you think he shared 2 product feature? Okay. One of them is keep warm, right? Additional feature that may interest the customer. Keep warm. He called it Teflon coated. Funny guy. Okay, good. Keep warm. Teflon coated. What is the second feature that he shared? That the whether it's for business or for casual, right? Yeah? Business for casual. Okay? That's for him. Okay. And did he share the final price of the recommended item? Just now, did he share that? Much earlier on, did he share? This jacket within is
Earlier on, he did share, but I
He
think the current segment that you played, never really heard him mention
yeah,
the final
earlier
price.
he did share. Okay,
Yeah.
he definitely did share for these 2 is within the budget. Let's take a look whether he did specify the
Put it in our bag for you.
okay, it's here. 120.
Okay.
Right, this one, the price suits you, is at $120. This one, while it looks a bit thin, but actually can double up as a business jacket. So
Oh,
just to
yeah.
share with you, are you going for purely for vacation on holiday or business trip? It's okay. It's okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, let me handle that.
Holiday. I'm just going for holiday.
Okay, on holiday.
Yep.
So what you could do is between these two jackets, right? This one is at 120. This one is at 130. It's slightly.
Okay, so he did share the price earlier on. Okay, so this one, this assessment is not by sequence all the time. So that's why he didn't. So he definitely this round did share this part. Two product features, what is what. He shared the final price of the product. Okay. Did he share the product warranty? Don't have. Did he tell there's currently a anniversary promotion? Store-wide discount or something like that. If you buy this, you will get the peripheral for a discount. Did he say that? When he go to the peripheral items, he said currently our store has a promotion. Whatever that you buy, there's currently a promotion. You can get this at $10 or something like that. So he did share this part. Okay, so this part, the NYC part is product warranty. Okay. Remember, if he demonstrated final price, you don't have to jot anything here. Related promotion, he did highlight, you don't have to jot anything. The product feature, because this is general, we have to just record down what are the product feature. And then over here, round one did not demonstrate. Round one did not present product warranty. You need not write in full sentences. Damien, just take note. You don't need to write in full sentences because when we are recording, we've got no time to refer to write full sentences. Huh? Okay, can? Okay, good. So with this, then we're going to go down here. Do you think he communicate professionally? This one, yes. Okay, he share product information clearly. Yes. Okay. He didn't use product brochure at all or pass the brochure. He handled this with care. In fact, this is a star element. Okay, I should highlight to him that I really like the way you handle the product with care. You respected all our merchandise. Yeah, and when the product dropped, you picked it up and you never let the customer hold it to you. You own the product, you pick it up immediately. I thought this is he met all the other criteria, but this is really excellent. I really like that. Yeah, is that okay? So he didn't do that. Okay, good. Now we're going to go to the next one. This one quite easy. There was no additional warranty. Even in your case, there will be no additional warranty. Did he share reasonable peripheral item? He did, right? The scarf? The scarf and the whatever warmer. And did he share the price? Yes, he did. Okay. So for this, how many evidence they need for ability statement for? 1, right? So he met 1. This definitely is a clear C. Okay. Okay. So if you have nothing to write here, if all shown, we just put down evidence shown. Okay, as a recap, don't write the full sentence here and put it here. There's no need to do that. Or this is not a writing test. Okay, so now we're going to go into the last part on closed sale. Okay, so I think Sumati wanted to buy the item. We're going to see for this scenario, this will be here. We want to see whether the candidate demonstrated these 2 items. Okay?
Above your budget.
Yeah.
So this one is more, you can wear it for leisure wear.
Wait, let me scroll.
Now,
Oh, okay.
so with the purchase this accessory, going to Korea, it's about
Correct.
springtime. So you
Okay.
would you like to consider them, ma'am?
Let me see.
Mm.
How much you saying?
It's $10 after the 20%
Oh,
discount.
that's beyond my budget.
Mm.
Yeah. Never mind. I'll just get that.
Sure, ma'am. So let me take this, put it in our bag for you, and then we can proceed to the cashier counter.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, Arthur. Thanks. We'll put back the item and we'll go back to our seats. Huh?
Sure.
Right.
Okay. Do you think Arthur offer a brand new set? Yes. And yes, so he definitely showed this too, and he using scenario A. So the evidence for closed sale here is competent evidence shown. Okay, that's good. So he didn't do B. Can? Yeah. Okay, so this is all. This is good. Okay, question on observing and recording so far. Quite okay. Yeah, I kind of walked through everything in detail. You might find this boring, but basically I'm telling you what I'm observing and what how do I mark an assessment itself. Yeah. Okay. So pause for a while. Question.
So like what you are doing right, so basically right, whatever the candidate is doing right, you just write down the evidence first before you put the NYC and say, okay, let's say give me a question. Of all the three criteria, one criteria there was like NYC, right? So what are we going to indicate? Are we just going to indicate like C or just NYC?
Okay, good. For evidence not shown, we're going to talk about how to recover for not enough evidence. Okay, because the assessment plan says that when there's not enough evidence, we can recover for not enough evidence. But the criteria was actually not clear. So there was under section 3.2, role play instruction, managing not enough evidence. Okay, so this was actually a error that we put in for teaching purposes. Okay, role play, no need to reenact, but must recover. Must exercise flexibility for recovery, but no need to reenact. Okay, so driving car cannot drive, can recover, but cannot re-perform. So he's saying that don't redo, but ask oral questions. So this was an error in an assessment plan. Use oral questions to recover. Okay, so remember what we talked about when show me evidence. This is a role play. This is a role play. And when there's not enough evidence in role play, we have to recover using direct form, direct evidence. Okay, the methods must be valid. Because if you use, so that's why you must recover using role play. Okay, but here they are proposing that you can recover. You have the flexibility to ask the learner to redo. Why flexibility? Because in order to ask the learner to redo, you might have to expand a little bit more time. Okay, but you cannot ask the learner to redo. So this is an error in the assessment plan. So in fact, the correct method is you need to ask the learner to recover using role play. So now, you understand this? Role play, not enough evidence, recover during role play. Okay, if you have no question for this, recovering using role play, for this assessment plan, not enough evidence, in which area? In A1, right? This part was has an issue. Oops. Smart is an issue. Okay. Let me just key the other part off. Okay. This part in it has an issue. Where else has an issue? This part has an issue. This part has an issue. The rest all good. Okay, so when there's not enough evidence in this, you ask the learner to redo. Where should you get the learners to redo? The issue is in ability statement 1 and ability statement 3 for role play. Now, let's just brainstorm a little bit. Doesn't matter right or wrong. If you ask the learner to redo, where would you ask her to redo? What is the technique for redo? Now, the thing to consider is, can you tell the candidate, just now you forgot to do this, you forgot to do this, and you forgot to do this. Now I'd like you to redo this. Or, as an assessor, you should be different from a trainer and just ask the candidate, there was not enough evidence. I would like you to begin the role play starting from when the customer walk in, and you will establish the customer's requirement. As assessor, how do you recover compared to a trainer and assessor? So as a trainer, what will you do? As a trainer, you will tell the candidate what? You might ask the candidate to reflect first, then you'll say, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this. You need to read that in, right? But as a assessor, you cannot be like a trainer and provide guidance during the assessment period. So what will you do? You will say that there was not enough evidence. I need you to restart your role play when the customer walked in. So you will begin from when the customer walked in and you establish the customer's requirement. This is your round 2. Get the learner to do the round 2. Okay. So what is the conceptual theory for this? We call this process probing for skills. Okay, the slide is in here. The slide is not here. If the candidate did not show enough evidence, take for example here, you can ask the candidate to re-perform starting from 2 or starting from 1. Yeah? But you cannot tell the candidate, you didn't show this, I need you to start from here, 2 or 1. Yeah? You can't tell the person that you did not show this. I need you to show this later. Yeah? You can only tell the candidate that there was not enough evidence. I need you to begin from either start from 2 or start from 1. Yeah. Sometimes for skills, you cannot say you want to start from 2, you can start from 2. Sometimes the skills have a continuous flow. Very difficult to say which point you wanted to start. Sometimes the only thing you can start is from the beginning of the skills itself. Okay. That is for process evidence not enough. You ask them to re-perform the process starting at an earlier step. But if it's a product evidence not enough, the form's incomplete, final work with missing things, you will ask the candidate to check the final work. For this assessment for product advisory, is all process evidence, so you have to start from the process. There's no forms to fill on product evidence itself. Yeah, so this is where we were in handling skills not enough. Okay, so we probe and we cannot hint prompting means hinting the specific answer to the candidate. Okay, so later on for oral question, assessor will need to rephrase the question without sh- using the answer list. Yeah. So this is the probing process. So for this case, where would you ask the candidate to redo? Okay, so you will ask him to start from here. Okay. If the lack of evidence is only A3, if A1 is B, A2 is C, here round one, this one not shown. Where would you ask the candidate to redo if there's missing evidence in A3? This is the part you got to try it out to see whether the point for the learner to start is clear if you ask her to start at A3. There was not enough evidence in provide customer with product and promotion information. I would need you to restart from this point. The key thing is, do you think your retail assistant know where to start at this point? Okay, if the retail assistant do not know where to start at this point, you potentially have to go to A2 because this is a very clear point to start as well. If A3 is missing, you can go one step earlier. Or you can even start at A1. It just takes a longer time. That's all. Yeah? Okay, question on recovery. You know how to probe when there's not enough evidence for skills? So potentially this is a point for discussion, not enough evidence for skills. How do you recover? If there's not enough evidence for A4, where can you start?
A3, A.
Then you have to ask whether A3 is a clear point to start. Okay, so this potentially is A3 a clear point to start because A3 it happened to be is an in process. A2 and A3 is the flow. So that's why it's sometimes difficult to start in the middle of a flow. And potentially you might need to start from A2 as well. Unless you can find a fixed point where you and the candidate is clear on the point to start. Yeah. So one of the most difficult things of assessor is to be able to communicate a clear point to start between the candidate and the assessor, and they know the clear point to start itself. Okay. Yeah. Questions so far?
So basically, so let's say in terms of managing the recovery, and let's say the candidate forget about his impression in the A4, so we can just say that go back to the skills, right? Can you we need to talk about A4, can we go back to A3, then from there we start all over again? Can we talk like that?
No, because the candidate will look at you, what is A4 and A3?
No, we go back to the previous question of what we were talking about.
No question at all, it's a skill.
Skills, okay, wow.
Yeah. It's not a question, it's not a skills. The candidate wouldn't understand your ability statement. Yes. Until the result point, you may want to summarize the area NYC specific area and the ability statement. But currently, recovery, again, is a communication. The point to restart is very important. And you cannot let the candidate know you didn't show the evidence is what. You can only say there's not enough evidence. I need you to restart at a point that's clear.
So I just tell him there's not enough evidence, so can we restart again?
From where?
From the earlier question.
No question. I don't understand your instructions.
From the earlier, go back to the starting again.
Then you still must have starting is what?
From the point that you stop, can we continue from there?
No, definitely no. So we are going to do this. We are going to try. A1 is easy to start, right? A1 is from the moment the customer walk in, you are going to begin from how you establish customer requirements. Yeah, when the customer, there's not enough evidence. I would like you to begin when the customer walk in, where you are trying to establish the customer requirement. Yeah, and how to start from this point is the easiest, right? Yeah, because if you're just going to say, oh, we're going to start from the beginning, I'm going to ask you, sorry, I don't understand what you mean. So you got to make clear what does beginning means. Beginning means that when I walk in as a customer, and you are going to begin with established customer requirement. Yeah, and you didn't hint to me anything of this at all that I missed out. The key is you cannot hint any of the requirement inside. Yeah. If they didn't show this part, okay, you or you didn't highlight features, okay, and potentially where can you start? You cannot hint that you didn't recommend product, right? So you cannot start from 2, right? So you must also start from here.
Go back to A1.
A1, and again, you are going to say A. You're not going to tell me A1 point or start because candidate will not understand.
So basically, can we like go back where you walk into the store and you start to
Where I walk into the store, where you are the assessor, walk
I'm
into
the
the
assessor,
store,
yeah.
and I will begin with established customer requirement.
Yeah,
Yes.
establish the customer requirement.
Excellent. That's specific. Yeah. The point of a start must be clear between 2, or else it will be a feel by the candidate is unfair to me because the assessor did not give me a clear point to start. I don't know what the assessor was talking about. Yeah. So that's a usual appeal process by candidate because our recovery process where point to start is not clear. So if A3 is not shown, any point of the A3 is not shown, or this one is not shown, where can you start? Potentially you will start from here because this is a very difficult point to start unless you can find a clear way to express this point. Yeah. Okay. If A4 is not shown, didn't do peripheral, where do you think you can do restart? Of course, is there a point here that you can ask her to restart? Evidence that they have shown already, assuming all these are shown. Is there a point here that you can, if all these are shown, okay, you can communicate with the candidate that I would like you to begin when you, after you have handed me the product brochure. Is that possible? Yeah. If these evidence are shown, you can do that, or you have explained the warranty to them. If this is not shown, this is not shown, then of course you restart it here. Can? But if the evidence is shown, all these are shown, and this is missing, you can actually find a common point here, and then you restart from here to see and go all the way to the end of the assessment. Is that okay? No, so this is the probing process. So potentially during our coaching, we'll be practicing the probing process on the instruction we will be giving for potentially 2 or 3 scenarios. Yeah, after we role play the thing, we will be practicing how to do that because I think this is one of the more difficult portions. Yeah, Ken? Yeah.
May
But-
I ask?
Yes.
So, like, you cannot prompt them on what they are missing, but if they ask you, they'd be like, oh, when you say I need more evidence to establish customer requirements, can you tell me what specifically you're looking for? Then how does the assessor answer?
This is an assessment. You are required to demonstrate the evidence based on LiveSmart SOP as we briefed you at the beginning. Okay, so I think module 4, our coaching and assessment is very close. So sometimes it feels that it's not clear, you know. But if your trainer do a coaching and assessment separately, potentially this is very clear. But if your trainer I don't want to find out. No need to tell me anything. If your trainer combine the coaching and assessment together, you are unable to differentiate this. So so as a assessor, you can't guide on the point. Yeah. The moment you guide on your point, ERNYC.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So basically, how many times are we allowed to try this process again?
This is an excellent question. This is also a fault of this assessment plan here. Not only they ask you to recover based on indirect evidence, they didn't dare to tell you directly. They kind of hint here, hint there. Flexibility, no reenactment. This is one fault. Okay, Joel, you gave a very good point here. They also didn't tell you how many attempts for recovery is allowable. Is allowed. Okay, these are okay. So both of these unclear instructions, how many attempts is also an unclear instruction, resulted in different assessments recovering differently using not valid method if they use oral question, and all assessors will be recovering inconsistently, number of times also inconsistently, a major reliability and consistency issue. Okay, this is another issue with this assessment plan. Yeah, we will document in the slides later. Yeah, okay. So a good assessment plan will say, oh, there's only one recovery. Everyone will have one recovery. That's it. Second question.
Okay, so for example, that just now we did mention that, for example, we always need them to restart in different points when we ask them to redo for maybe number 2 or number 3. But just nice that on the attempt 1, he failed to mention the thing. But on attempt 2, he go through the flow again, he mentioned. So are we allowed to also change from an NYC to C?
In the attempt 1, remember, I haven't put down the NYC yet.
Yeah, correct. So yes, so basically he did not did that, but the second round he did that. Then the third round, we need to always go through and back if there's a few mistakes. So sometimes he did, sometimes they did not. So how do you want to?
Okay, so over here, you put down round 1 did not. Okay. Then round 2 demonstrated. Demonstrated in round 2. Okay. So if demonstrated in round 2, the rest is already C already. Okay. If previously all is here, take for example, then this is round 2. This will be this one all, this one 2. They met all. A1 will be 1C. Yeah. So for your assessment, you only have 2 rounds because we really don't have the time. Okay. So no need to give me more rounds because I will still be NYC. Because this is IL requirement. If I give you a C, you have to redo the whole assessment. Then you can complain about me, learner under duress. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a choice. You recover 10 times, I will still have to demonstrate not enough evidence. I potentially got to pinch on myself to rigorously make sure I give you the same NYC.
So can I say that we only, or we don't even need you to recover at all?
You need to, as part of your evidence requirement. I will show you the assessment criteria on that day. A learner must be able to rephrase question for oral question and recover for not enough evidence in role play. one of the important thing about this course is not just to observe and mark. I think most of the time people will just close their eyes on that, but they need to now learn how to recover for not enough evidence. But of course, you will read your assessment plan whether you are needed to recover or not when you are in the market. I mean, when you are assessing in the industry, I mean, not market, but industry. But for this assessment to approve you as an assessor, you must be able to recover for not enough skills and not enough knowledge. Can my first NYC was really difficult. I recovered 10 times. Yeah. Even though on the 7th time I know the learner has fatigue, I give him a break and then start again. I have strong stamina, but most learner doesn't have strong. Most human being doesn't have strong perseverance. Yep. The learner didn't appeal, but my admin manager scolded me the next day. I got 2 responses from my IL bosses. My admin manager says that my night staff has to stay for 1.5 hours for you to complete the assessment. Can recover 1 time enough, if you recover 10 times for what? Got scolding. Okay. My deputy director walked to me and said, "Oh, I heard you had an NYC yesterday. How did you feel?" Okay, I went back run for 1.5 hours night run. Yeah, and reflected my whole process. And we had a nice chat about that. Okay, how to cope with NYC. It's good reflection. He actually told me that, do you think that the candidate is able to recover at all if the candidate is not prepared? I say no. That was my lesson learned. There's no point asking the learner to recover how many times unless you're willing to give a hint. But that means this person hasn't met the industry standard. Okay, so I say that's my lesson learned. I think the max I will do my recovery is maybe twice, max once, yeah, once or twice max. The IR requirements is once, yeah, max. Okay, my colleague, I shared with my mentor. My mentor took up his hand and gave me a warm welcome handshake. And his words to me is, "Congratulations, William. You are now one of us." You are never a assessor until you know how to handle difficult situations or cross your own boundary or hurdle. I appreciate this mentor a lot because he allows me to understand that, as part of our job, this is part of the requirement. You're a trainer, that's good. You always approve and clear everyone. But if you're an official assessor, you want to earn your rice bowl in the longer run, you got to be an assessor. You have a professional code of credit to contain. So my managers in the Fair Price, in Cold Store, in CK Tang asked me the same question. So what if I approve them and I just clear them? Who's going to know? I say nobody until the auditor comes in. I say, then I will approve everyone because I'm nice. I said that, yeah, but you're not effective. So what's the consequences? I say, who's going to do the job after you clear the person? Are you going to stay over and help the person pick up the shit every day? Or another colleague will be doing that all the time? So that's the question I will pose to them all the time. The role of an assessor in the workplace as well. Who's going to be, and especially in workplace, the assessment is free of charge. Reassessment is free of charge. Who is going to do that? Who's going to be covering this person's duty when this person can't perform the job itself? So it's not about being nice or being kind. Assessor is role of judging went back to our definition of competency-based assessment itself. Yeah. So I think assessors, as we do our job, this is potentially a self-reflection and answer we have to give to ourselves. Only you will know the answer, and only when the auditor comes in, you will know your results. Yeah. So I operate that every assessment is audited. I don't operate on a pickup basis. Neither do I see on my job. I need to teach this subject. This is what I need to do. So I kind of reflected this with my adult educators from New Zealand and Australia when they visited Singapore, and my American adult educators as well, in my own circle, not the IS circle. So we actually also share some of our ethics, our practice along the way. Yeah. Anyway, so when you go out, you will take your own risk, because whatever you do or you did not do, the consequences will usually come out in an audit report 6 months later that is blasted through the whole organization that you didn't do this, you didn't do that, because our life is actually very much monitored. If I'm here talking to you, I have a mic on top of me, I have a video that's creepy, and then over there there's a poster to say that the room is under full surveillance. So I operate transparently. Yeah. Because if I don't, then there's a lot of consequences along. Yeah. So Rakesh, you know, right? We all will go out, we will live our own consequences. But in this course, I'm actually just letting you know the parameters we are working with. Yeah. 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 Surfacing the discomfort. Yeah. Which is part of our question answer. Yeah. So potentially recovery is a point that we need to handle. Yeah. In our coaching, it's not going to be. That was why the bundled time is important. Then we can have more practice for this. And with 2 person, then you can learn from each other. Oh, what will you do? What will you do? Because we are live, we are on the spot, and we got to work with it. Yeah. Okay. Good. I have so recovery for peripheral A4 can be a common point that you and your candidate remember. Okay, if the candidate cannot remember this, cannot remember, poor you. You potentially recover when the customer walk in, and that takes a longer time. Okay. For closed sales, okay, you realize there's only one scenario. Okay, closed sales itself. There was once my candidate from India. I took this scenario and I demonstrated. When I finished, I concluded everything. He then said that, okay, I'm going to change the scenario for the closed sales a bit. What if I tell you that I still want to take a look, think about it. So how would you respond? So shall we role play that again? Okay. Then I'll role play it. I actually demonstrated this as well. Okay. He marked here as C. Okay. And he used the role play to do both. And then because I responded using words in my role play, his oral question, he put here C, responded, demonstrated, in role play. This is on the condition that during the role play I actually demonstrated everything. Okay, we can do recovery with this, but this is more sophisticated. For your work, I think for you just ask all the questions will do. Okay, if you want to do this, we will talk about it in coaching. Okay. Remember, in competency-based assessment is dominated by demonstrated the skills demonstrated in the evidence demonstrated in the competency itself. So every time they demonstrated the competency, the oral question that is asked could be actually observed. Yeah, if they have demonstrated the competency. But the assessment plan didn't do this, so I'm not going to confuse you. for the oral question, we are going to ask every question and we are going to answer the question. I will answer all the questions. Is that okay? Can? Okay, good. So, as of now, we will talk about how to observe and record the role play. Okay, so this morning we talk about a practice for breathing and a class practice on how to observe and record for role play using the role play assessment record. And we talk about before the role play, we must ask the candidate, we must give the candidate clear instructions before the role play, use the assessment record for role play to observe and record evidence. We have also covered there's not enough evidence how to probe and do not hint or tell the candidate that the hint, the area of gaps during this point. Okay, then we also learn how to think on the evidence we see and pen down on remarks on areas that you need to pen down. For this point, we did this. Okay, so after we come back from lunch, we'll talk about oral questions and we're going to break into two groups to work on how to rephrase question for at least two questions. Okay, one group will work on one question, one group will work on then we share our question with the class. How about that? Then we will have a pool of oral questions for each of us. Okay, so potentially I can put it as part of your lunch brainstorm job to think about rephrase question for oral question 2 and question 3. Question 1 and question, let me see. For your oral question, you can look at question 1 and question 2. If you need to rephrase the question, how do you rephrase the question so the candidate don't understand? Just oral question 1 and question 2 will do. Yeah? So, shall we declare our lunch break currently? Okay, report time. Marcus, you're so anxious. Very good. Help me set the class time back, Marcus.
2 o'clock.
Okay, including the rephrase question done. I'll take a nap a little bit. Today we are finishing at 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2 o'clock is warranted. Yeah. Can? Okay. So we will cover oral question, how to recover oral question, and then we'll cover giving feedback. Okay, then after that we will take a break, then we talk about all the oral questions for this module. Can? Okay, still back to sharp. I'll mark attendance for this morning. Can? See ya.